Oh, anyway, hello and welcome to the match report, hosted, of course, by Three in Midfield. As Kojo gets the order correct, it's actually three in midfield. I can't believe it.
All right.
Midfield. Wow, who is that person?
Leave me alone,
Darren. How you doing, man?
I'm fine. I've been busy.
What a time to come on.
I don't pick my times really well at all, to be honest, do I?
Not at all. We'll get into why you don't pick your times great later in the show. But Coach, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right, man. I think I've managed to get over the sadness that was Tuesday. I think I'm okay now. Yeah. The only sadness I'm holding me.
What I was watching on Don Robbie's show, you looked pretty upset.
Yeah, that was Tuesday. That's why I said Tuesday. What you did?
Listen, if you had access to our chat, every time he goes on Don Robbie, Kale clips him up and makes a meme out of him every single time.
Because they lose all the time, man.
I've been there and I haven't won yet. So listen, when I get my win, clip me up.
You won't be getting clipped up by him when you get a win.
No, not at all. Anyway, look at all the free guests as well. The honorary member, Basil, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Apparently, I was walking around London yesterday. And apparently, it's been painted red. Don't ask me why, but
wow, it's very different.
That was the color I was seeing when I was walking around London. So
crazy what a couple of days can do for Arsenal fans, eh? I'm in the exact same boat, but North London is red. It's beautiful.
Wow,
it's wonderful. Jerry, wow. What color is Manchester United, Jerry? It's a type of red.
What? Wait, hold on.
It's a type of red.
That's black.
Not Manchester's red.
Manchester's red. Let's not be playing silly games. Yeah.
The red of Liverpool, right? I think Steve will agree with that.
How? Well, London's red because you beat Chelsea. Is that what you're saying?
We were the champions of Europe. You lost to what? Liverpool. All right.
I mean, if you were champions of Europe before, maybe you could claim that we moved into the
exactly. What the hell? But listen, pleasure to be on the channel, man. Shout out to the guys. Yeah, that's what I've got to say, man. I'm alive, I'm breathing, and yeah, happy to see Steve again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we'll change that, brother.
Steve, bring some joy into Jerry's
oh, mate, everything's great. The sun is shining, the world is beautiful, everything is as good as it can be, mate. So, and judging by some of the subjects we'll talk about, it's about to get a whole lot better too, I would imagine.
It is, and it's about to get a whole lot better very, very quickly, because that is the game we are talking about. Liverpool 4, Manchester United 0. That makes it 9-0 on aggregate, Jerry. I'm coming to you straight away, bro. What's your feelings on the game, Jerry?
You know what? It was expected. Like I wasn't even that angry, like, man, because it was funny to watch. Like seeing Phil Jones on the starting lineup was comical. Obviously, Ronaldo not being there. Obviously, condolences to his little one and well wishes to his family and that. But yeah, with him missing as well, I didn't see how he was gonna score. And Liverpool at Anfield, like, come on, man, it's standard procedure, isn't it? Like, it is what it is, man. We lost and just gotta take the L. We just gotta take the L. But the 9-0, when I can see it on the screen like that, it's not pretty. Man, we didn't even score one goal against them. Like, I don't think we even had a shot on target both games. Like, is that bad? So listen, man, it's not our turn right now, man. Football works in cycles, and obviously Liverpool are in their cycle right now. And I just gotta accept it. But listen, we're coming back.
Jerry says that you're coming back. I'm going to come to you, Darren. Are Manchester United?
Say what?
Are Manchester United coming back?
No. Like, if you want my honest opinion, Manchester United are probably about 5 or 6 years away from being where they need to be. And it would be 3 years if they had competent members upstairs. but they've basically brought a consultant in who's telling them everything's crap, and they're gonna nod whilst he's there every day. But he leaves, he's getting ignored. It is very, very clear that's going to happen. So I'm just here for the ride, man. Football, as I said, as Jason, sorry, it goes in cycles, and it is what it is. Look, we were very lucky, Michael, Jerry, and I. We got to see Man United win everything growing up.
Everything.
But now it is what it is. That's all I can say. I just hope that my son doesn't become a City or a Liverpool fan. That's the thing for me, if I'm honest. But like, I just I don't think we'll come back.
You got to take the rough with the smooth. Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
you're trying
man.
to say.
I've had my luck. Like, I'm very happy with.
I mean,
with
Kojo, let's talk about the rough here. And who's to blame for the rough? It's Fergie to blame for the rough because it's been a while since you've like competed, and I feel
Let
like
the man retire.
if he left you earlier with a better squad, it might have been salvageable, but I guess not, eh?
Nah, you know what? It's not even. It wasn't even him that was leaving. Well, him leaving was peak, but it wasn't him leaving that ruined us. It was David Gill leaving that ruined us. Because then Woody Woodpecker took charge, and you know
Bro.
the rest is history. And that's even a disrespect to Woody Woodpecker. Shout out him. Honestly, look, the game was just a disaster class, man. But that's been coming. You remember I used to say on this podcast here. I ain't said it for a while because may not have been holding smoke. I used to say, yeah, every team is due their slapping once in a while. But may not getting them once in a while. We're getting them consistently, fam. You know what I'm saying? We're getting battered right now. We're the jobbers in wrestling. That's what we are. So, you know, it's
Moving like Paul London.
Paul London won titles, bro. We ain't won titles in a long time. So,
who's that pirate character? Paul Burchill.
Paul Burchill. Shannon Moore in that.
That's where Man United are right now, man. So look, I think we also the loss coming, man. We all knew that they're gonna batter us. I was saying that if we can't handle Timo Pukki, I don't know how the hell we're gonna handle any of their front six. I say front six because next season Fabio Carvalho's coming through, and if we don't improve, that's also gonna be peak. So you know, I mean, yeah, it was coming, man. I tried to be slightly optimistic on Tuesday. I said to Cams that I'm going to be the silly, optimistic United fan and go for a 1-1. You know, Phil Jones header. You know, that's I shouted all of that, and then he said 4-1 with his chest to Liverpool, and boy, he was very close because we couldn't score one. But it is what it is, man. So yeah,
your optimism was a 1-1 draw. Do you know how wild that was?
That bruv, that's peak.
Your optimism was you might get a point, you know.
Hey, listen, a draw, and I would have been delighted. Absolutely delighted. So yeah,
I was watching it with my mother-in-laws, and at no point from the very start of the game was I like, I might actually get a chance. When Sancho dribbled through and played it into Rashford, I was shocked that we created a semi-decent goal-scoring opportunity. Team's really bad, man. I don't really know what else to say other than that. Like,
I mean, Steve, let's bring you in here. Bring some joy to the podcast because these guys are quite miserable right now. Understandably, they did lose 9-0 on aggregate. But when you saw Phil Jones on the team sheet, all good praise to him. He did play well in the first time he played in like 2 seasons, and he wasn't their worst player on the night. But once you saw Phil Jones on the team, how many goals were you actually expecting?
Well, once I picked myself up off the floor laughing, it was really Phil Jones. He was blowing out of his arse after 70 seconds, mate. So it was one of them. Listen, I've been where these guys are now when we fell off our perch, and it takes, if you don't get things right year in, year out, it takes a long time to get back, and it's going to take a long time for United to get back because there are levels in this, and there are numerous levels between City, Liverpool, and United right now. Manchester United's first thing is to genuinely look at the likes of West Ham, Spurs, and Arsenal as the next target to overhaul, and then they can start thinking about Chelsea and then ultimately Liverpool and City. It's a long road back, to be fair. Looking on the screen now, it says Liverpool and Man United. That's one of the biggest games in world football. I was the most relaxed I've ever been about a Liverpool-Manchester United game in my entire life.
I hear it.
So is everybody. It wasn't just me, so was everybody. It's arguably the worst first half performance by an away team at Anfield I've ever seen. 76% possession for Liverpool, 19 touches of the ball in Liverpool's third by Manchester United, and no attempts at goal. That is beyond dreadful. And you've got a little bit of Manchester United players thinking we're 6 games away from him going upstairs. Does it really matter? Does it really count? Well, it counts for a lot if you find yourself in the Europa Conference League because you couldn't be asked. So it counts for a lot if that happens because, mate, we will dine out on that for the rest of my entire life if Manchester United end up in the Conference League, mate. That will be beyond hysterical. And I know lots of Liverpool fans will feel the same. With regards to our performance, the front 4 or 5 we've got at the moment are electric. They're all coming into form at exactly the right time, and that doesn't bode well for anybody else. It will be a case in terms of the Premier League. Have City got a slip up in them? Who knows? Because I think we'll win most of it. No one's laying a glove on us. I mean, the first half in the FA Cup semi-final against Manchester City, they could have had all of the boys out and we still would have gone in at half-time in front because that was as good as it gets in terms of executing your game plan.
Sorry, I disagree.
Well, that's fine.
Because that's definitely...
Why do you disagree, Jerry?
What the hell was that?
That's a fine style. That style, you see, that style lineup City put up. I don't know why there's complaints about it. All you have to do is look at how much they spent on those players. You know, they are basically first team players. So when people go on like it's a B team, it's not a B team. Look at the players. They had Grealish worth over 100 million. Bernardo Silva on the pitch. They had
Cancelo was played.
Nathan Ake.
Cancelo.
He played well. Ake played well.
50 million quid, Nathan Ake, mate. 50 million quid.
It's not the money. Maguire's 80 million. That don't mean shit.
Well, yeah, you got a point there. You got a point there.
That's what I'm saying. Like. Nah, man, that team was heavily rotated. I think.
But Jerry, in fairness, right, and I've said this a long time, and I would say it as a Liverpool fan, when Liverpool get it right and the system works, nobody can stop them, and that includes Manchester City. It only has to be 10% off, or a player missing from the system. We're the most system-built side in the world in world football today, and when it works, it's ruthlessly efficient, and nobody has an answer because we've taken City apart many times, and when it hasn't worked, they've taken us apart. When it works, and it did work in the first half, that we absolutely battered them, and it gave us, second half. We come out, we conserve some energy. We did the same against you guys in the second half. I counted 77 passes before Liverpool gave the ball away against Manchester United at one stage in the second half. That's ridiculous. That shows 2 things. That shows the team that's really comfortable. 96% pass completion rate for Thiago in the second half. That's FIFA tactics. If you're playing on beginner and you're like a superstar, that's ridiculous numbers. We're at it at the minute, and it'll take a good team to stop us. Champions League wise, that's probably the one we're more likely to win because we've got ground to make up against Manchester City, and I think we'll deal with Chelsea at Wembley as well because Konate is coming along just fine in terms of centre back thing, and he's a real danger in the air into the half. And I think Chelsea are all over the shop at the moment. What's going on in their club can't be helping them. But back to the game, 4-0. 4-0 doesn't flatter Liverpool, if anything. After 45 minutes, we came out in the second half. We just pushed the ball around, similarly to what we did in the 5-0. We just conserved energy because that's a game where you can do that. If we win 4-0 or 7-0, okay, the banter's a different thing for a week or two. You still only get 3 points. So what you do is you just look after your team, you look after your players. You stroke the ball around, you have a bit of fun with it. I don't know if you've seen the video of the cop cheering Manchester United players and they were having a warm-up before second half started. Like when your team's winning and you go, hey, hey, every time they pass the ball to each other. Man United, the cop were doing that at half-time. That's the level of confidence that the Liverpool fans had to banter Manchester United, and it's been a long time coming that. And listen, I know it's not easy to listen to as Man United fans, but I've had my 10 years, 20 years so of being on the other end of it, and there was very little sympathy coming our way. So it kind of is cyclical. You're quite right. Both of you guys have said that. And what goes around comes around, and they've waited a long time for Liverpool to get to this position, and we're going to enjoy it. And right now, we're as good as we've ever been in the history of our football club.
I mean, the front three, they all got their goals. Diaz, Salah, Mane. I think Salah got 2 goals as well. Basil, bring you in. That front, how dangerous is that front three in terms of the history of football? It's got to be up there.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think what Steve said, it's more the understanding of the three. Because I'll be brutally honest, I don't think Salah's really been informed this year. And even if I take the 2 goals out, I don't think that was Salah's greatest game. I don't think he had a good game because when he tried to dribble, he lost the ball many times. He wasn't careful with the ball. But that's the danger that you have to be aware because he has an eye for goal. And when you switch off, he finds himself in the right position to affect the game. But I think, of the 3, even if one isn't playing well, just the understanding between all 3 of them, the movement, the ability to know where each other are, it's sensational. I mean, all you have to do is look at the Salah goal and the pass that Mane gave to him, and that gives you an indication of
that pass was beautiful, man.
Between the 3 of them. I mean, Manchester United made it easy, very easy for them. People not tracking runners, people moving out of position and not knowing what to do, and you can't do that against Liverpool. You can't do it. They're just going to hurt you. But it's definitely one of the best front threes. It's difficult to say because Diaz has only just come in the club, but he seems to fit in seamlessly well in that system. And I think that's the reason why I rate Klopp so well. They seem to find right players who he's able to integrate into the system very well. He doesn't need, I think that's why I rate Klopp higher than I rate Pep Guardiola. Because I've always said Guardiola needs to have 9 out of 10 players. Guardiola can't work with 6 or 7s. It just doesn't work for him. Whereas the likes of Klopp, you can give him a 5 out of 10 player or 6 out of 10 player. But he integrates them well in the system and they seem to understand their role in the team. And he managed to extract the best out of those players. Take, for instance, Henderson. I'll be brutal. I thought Henderson was very poor on the day, if I'm being brutally honest. I thought he was very poor with the ball. But you look at how Henderson's able to operate in that Klopp system. If Guardiola was dealing with Henderson, he wouldn't know what to do with him. But that's the reason why I rate Klopp so highly, that he can take those kind of players and integrate them well in the system and ensure that the team functions well with his ideology and his idea of football. And that's it. It's just fantastic to watch when Liverpool are on song.
It's a title race going to the wire, Kojo. I mean, let's talk about the remaining fixtures. Everton, Liverpool. We start with Liverpool first. Everton at home, Newcastle away, Tottenham at home, Villa away, Southampton away, Wolves away, City, Watford at home, Leeds away, Newcastle at home, West Ham away, Aston Villa at home, Wolves away in the final game. If you had to pick one, who's winning it?
I'll still say City because I can see City winning all those games somehow. Well, I say somehow they've done crazy winning runs before, as have Liverpool. So it's going to be one of those races again where who drops the points. I'll say
just to interject, they've also got Champions League games mixing on, and Real Madrid, Liverpool, City have Real Madrid, which is going to be. Well, to be fair to Unai Emery's Villarreal, they have done really well this season, but on paper, Liverpool versus Villarreal and City versus Real Madrid, you can't really compare those two.
No, I think obviously I think Liverpool will have a bit more luxury of resting players, which is fine because if they were to rest, Sadio Mane, for example, Luis Diaz walks in or Diogo Jota walks in, so it's not really hurting them too tough to lose one of those guys or rest one of those guys. But I'll say because they are the informed side right now, apart from those two, I'll say Newcastle could be the determining factor in this running. Home or away, Newcastle are picking up points. So whether if they can go to City with confidence and get a point from there, that could be in Liverpool's favour. If Liverpool go to St James's Park and Newcastle somehow pull it out of the bag to get a point or even a win, same thing at the Etihad, they could be the determining factor. The other games, I don't see any of those teams troubling them. The Merseyside derby is not even a derby anymore. It's as much of a derby as Chelsea versus Fulham. It's going to be a trouncing. So that's not even a game I consider.
Sorry, Mike.
Go on.
Well, I think City have one potential banana skin, and that's Wolves.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Historically, Wolves have had City's number. They've always been a quite difficult team to play against for City, especially the Nuno era, when Adama Traore and Jimenez were up front. Obviously, they don't have the same sort of strike force on the Bruno Lage, but they're still really organised. They're still really difficult to play against. And because of that, I think that is the potential basket. And why I don't say West Ham is because they're clearly putting all of their eggs in that Europa League basket.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way they're going to be able to keep the players that are probably going to leave, Declan Rice, is by possibly even winning it and getting that Champions League football, which his ability deserves, really. So I think Liverpool for the Champions League fixtures, because whatever people say, Klopp could deny it until he's blue in the face. But that Champions League not being in his cabinet post Messi is something that he really, really does not like to deal with. So he's going to go all in for that. And I think Wolves are a really, really difficult game. Whereas I think with Liverpool, it doesn't matter what front three they play in the Premier League, what free midfield they play. Everybody is still so aware of their roles. Like you got Henderson, you got Naby Keita, you got Fabinho, you got Thiago. You got like so many different types of midfielders that can play different ways, but they always fit. As Basil was saying, it's such a really well drilled team that the level never really dips. Unfortunately, I really do think that Liverpool are going to do all four, and I can't believe it.
God forbid.
But I honestly think they're going to do all four.
I think the Premier League will be their stumbling block. Personally, I think it will be their stumbling block.
Hala Madrid.
Cheap shot.
If only he had Sergio Ramos back there, didn't it? It would have all worked out in the end, wouldn't it? But no, they don't. But we have to talk about the future of Manchester United now, because you've all been down, you've all been sad. Let's get some optimism back in there, because I mean, we do know that Ralph Rangnick is going upstairs, but he's got a new buddy with him, Erik Ten Hag from Ajax. He is coming. That's been agreed. That's been stamped down. He is going to be your new manager starting next season. I know Kojo prefers Pochettino. That didn't happen, so I'm going to come to you, Darren, and I'll come to you later, Kojo, and then you, Jerry. Is he the man to take Man United forward?
Okay, so Ten Hag is the right guy, in my opinion. But the thing is, the issues with Man United, it's not just we've not got the right manager. For the first time, I'd say we got the right manager at the right time of their career. But Man United need an overhauling in their recruitment. I remember a while ago I was in a pod with Misty and he was talking about player profiling and how they've got their players matching their systems. Man United don't have that. Man United have had, you look at that Liverpool game, for example, you had players from Fergie's era, Jose's era, Van Gaal's era, Moyes' era, all mashed together, as well as Ollie's signings as well. So there needs to be some clarity in the squad building, and there isn't that. You're looking at least 10 players leaving or having to leave, really, and then you've got to think about players that are going to come in probably without Champions League football. And then you've also got to think about how long it's going to take that completely new bunch of players to get used to playing with each other and getting the automations right, because they're going to be playing under a lot more detail than they've had done at previous clubs or at Man United previously. And you've got the idea of raising the confidence of those Man United players that are going to be staying, that is on the floor. Like Sancho's confidence is on the floor, Bruno's confidence is on the floor, etc., etc. Like Rashford's confidence is
below ground. I think that's what he's trying to say there. He's very much
I think it's fair to say Rashford's frozen, guys, and he needs some help.
There you go, Steve. Rashford is frozen. You back?
I'm back. Sorry.
Cool.
Yeah.
Rashford's confidence.
Oh, he's not
again. He's not again. Terry, we'll come to you, big man. Ten Hag, is he the right guy?
You know what? Yeah, now that it's confirmed, obviously it was between him and Poch, but I wasn't really too. It was kind of 50-50 for me between them two. But now that Ten Hag's confirmed, I think it's the right one because Poch, with the United fan base, it was like he was like no one wants him, and that's just going to cause further divide. So Ten Hag, it looks like the majority of the fan base are on board. Like I said, I was 50-50, but now that he's here, good appointment. But I think I was speaking to Kojo when he got announced. We was like, "Yeah, I see everyone in the group chat getting excited, and I get it." But listen, we've been here before. We've been here many times. So for me, I'm taking a different approach to this. I need to seeing is believing. That's the famous quote because yeah, we've got the new manager, but there's so many other stuff that needs to be cleared up for us to finally believe and get to compete at the highest level. So Ten Hag, yep, he's in first step. Obviously, we've seen Ralph going to the consultancy role. The Chief Scouts got magically sacked 2 days ago.
Yeah.
I mean, things are happening. So it's like the train's starting to move, but we're still at the station. We ain't really taken off yet. So let's just see what happens. But yeah, in regards to Ten Hag, good appointment, plays attractive football. And we'll just go from there, man. I ain't gonna get too ahead of myself because I've been burnt too many times. So we move steady and we'll see how it goes, man.
Can I add one more thing?
Finish, please.
I'll
Don't
quickly
freeze.
finish. I won't freeze, hopefully. There is more internal recruiting that needs to be done for me to be confident in Ten Hag's ability to actually do this job properly. We need to revamp our medical, our recruitment, and basically everything internally, coaching. It all needs to be started again because Ten Hag can coach clearly, and the players are going to be replaced because so many are leaving because of the contract situations and stuff like that. But the internal structures aren't fixed. We will be here again in 3 years' time with a new manager. It's just that simple.
Kojo will come to you. There's a comment there by Red United. He's asking whether they got the £2 million budget in the kitty. But that's the thing. You say you need to get rid of 13 players. That means 13 new players need to come in. So if they do have 200 million, I'm hearing the range is like 100 million to 200 million. It all depends. I feel like it's probably a lot of money, but he's going to want to sell a lot of players. So that's where the other, I guess, 100 will come in. If you can get 100 million for the crap that you got.
Yeah, no, look, this is the biggest part of his job for me as well, is getting rid of the players that just aren't good enough or don't want to be here. I mean, obviously, you got players that run out of contract this summer, Pogba, Lingard, I think Mata as well, Matic. So that's already a lot of wage off the bill. You have a bit of freedom with, players you can bring in, getting high earning players off that wage bill is very important. But yeah, he's got a lot of players to get rid of. And this is why I also haven't been overly excited. I don't care who the manager is. Every manager needs to be backed. I just want your manager to sort of just be like, okay, you give me every chance to succeed or fail. I don't want anyone holding me back. You know what I'm saying? No interference from this side, no interference on that side. Because if that starts with Ten Hag, it's a problem already. I mean, and in terms of the appointment, again, the reason why I don't have any issues because Jerry said that United, he's right. The United fans right now are a lot more of a collective with Ten Hag rather than it would have been Pochettino. But then as soon as we started hearing that he wanted to bring Steve McLaren in for some reason, it was suddenly, oh man, why is he bringing Steve McLaren in for? Oh, I don't like this. We're here again. You know what I'm saying? If the guy,
you were the one saying that as well.
I said it. Yeah, I said it.
To be fair, McLaren makes sense. McLaren makes lots of sense.
Yeah, but so I actually read up on it, and it was put in a group chat that me and Jerry are part of, and I was like, okay, you know what? If he's brought in for a certain reason, then cool. I understand it now. I don't trust Steve McLaren. I haven't trusted him since the Wally with the Brolly incident. So it's just been one of them ones. So I've just been like, yeah, that name is just allow it. But for the reasons that I've heard, I'm like, okay, you know what? It makes sense. But I knew that was going to happen with the Man United fans anyway, regardless of whether it's me or someone else. It was going to happen. And I guarantee you, if it was Pochettino, he would have done something that would have annoyed me as well also. So, look, the squad needs serious repairs. Pretty much as the stadium does. You know what I mean? It's one of them ones. So,
and the training ground.
and the training ground, and
The
someone.
stadium is worse. The stadium it leaks seriously. It leaks every winter. Apparently, it's
Yep.
behind some train tracks where the back of the stadium looks a little bit moldy. It's in a bad way. That's why it was on the news recently that they might actually knock it down. They're not going to because you can't really. But it's not in a good way at all. And internally as well, like, if you compare it to even Arsenal's, which isn't state of the art anymore. But the difference is humongous. Like it's not good internally. It's dirty. It's not. I've not been for a while, so I've not been for about a year and a half, and it's not nice. And it only would have got worse because of time and wear and tear and stuff like that. So yeah.
So the last thing I'm hoping, and I know Ten Hag don't listen to Free Midfield. Maybe he does. I don't know. But anyway, the main point is
he's a big fan. He's a big fan.
He's a huge fan. He told me last week. But listen, I'm hoping, whether it's him, his assistant, or someone else, I beg someone park his Alex Ferguson's spot. It's not his spot anymore. The guy's gone. I don't want to hear that story ever again about a manager not wanting to park in his spot because the great Alex Ferguson. I don't care anymore. That era is gone. You need to move on. So look, the squad needs a period. I said 13 players. I can't lie to you, KO. Every day gets bigger. So because it's a big overhaul. You can go from like your Ronaldo's because he's old. So he's not going to be a long-term player. So you got to replace that as well. And then you go to the defense and just calamity after calamity in that back line. So you've got that as well. The midfield, Jesus Christ. And then even goalkeeper as well. I was even in debate. It was me yesterday. De Gea, Henderson.
De Gea is struggling next season.
Oh no,
he's having an awful season next season.
What I would say is goalkeepers, because goalkeepers tend to retire a lot later. Maybe he's got some time to learn stuff, but I don't have that belief. Hold on, I don't have that belief that he's going to learn that. And I definitely don't think Dean Henderson's that guy either. I already called him
big man.
I called him back to Foster.
De Gea is Spanish and he can't use his feet.
Listen, David Raya at Brentford, is right there. He's right there. He's right there.
Some people in Spain don't season their paella. That's the Gea. So
he lived there. He knows.
There you go. So look, there's so much needs to be done. And Dean Henderson is not going to be the guy. And I hope he's not the guy. So if we're going to sign a goalkeeper, I will trust Ten Hag to find or identify the right goalkeeper to fit his system. I did kind of wish rather that Onana hadn't signed with Inter Milan already, because that would have been a nice fit. But we move on. Yeah, that's done. So we move on from there. But no, look, we've got too much work to do, bro. Far too much work to do. So as Steve said, listen, there's levels. We got to climb the ladder. Boy, we got a big ladder to climb. So yeah, hopefully we can
now as well, because think about how much money Newcastle going to spend next season. I mean, they managed to get a midfielder that would be Man United's best midfielder in the January window. So there's that. If we're honest, Bruno Guimaraes would be Man United's best midfielder, and Newcastle haven't.
Who's that? Sorry,
Bruno Guimaraes.
Oh yeah.
And this is the thing, like, they're going to spend loads more. You've got West Ham, who've been in the semi-final of a major European competition with a massive stadium, which they pay pennies for, and great location. You've got Arsenal on the come up. You've got Chelsea being Chelsea. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be harder to rebuild than it would have ever been, because the Premier League is so down competitive financially. So they're just kind of stuck in the rock and a hard place, because there are going to be no players that only Man United want. And that's the issue. All the players that Man United are going to want better teams, better placed teams, more functional teams will be in for them too. And then it will come to a decision for the player and their agent.
You're forgetting something. You're forgetting something.
What am I forgetting?
You're Manchester United.
I've said this before. We haven't been Man United for this new generation of footballers. We're that team that generation of footballers' parents were talking about.
Yeah.
These new generation of footballers see Man United as that team that used to be good. We're not there anymore.
B&Q Bolton.
B&Q Bolton. Let's bring in the rival fans on this one. Basil, we'll start with you. Ten Hag. I mean, as you've heard, mixed feelings about him, especially from Jerry. I heard Jerry and Kojo's trepidation, but they wanted Poch, but they didn't get him. But fair enough. They're
I didn't say that. I didn't say
Wait.
You wanted Poch. You wanted Poch.
Michael, don't lie. You wanted Poch. Michael, you wanted Poch. Michael, you wanted
No,
Poch.
I had a preference, but I wasn't against Ten Hag.
All right.
Yeah,
If there's two choices and you prefer one,
It's a choice.
then it's a choice.
yeah. I haven't denied that I prefer one. To say I don't like the other. Wait, what?
No,
I
that's
didn't
not
say
what
you
he
didn't
said.
like.
He
I
didn't
said
say
you
that.
I didn't say that.
Okay,
You
sorry.
wanted
You
one.
wanted Poch, and if it's not Ten Hag, he's not happy.
No. You added that bit yourself, bro.
Bruv, I
Hey,
didn't
listen,
say that.
journalistic skills. I see him. Listen,
Listen, I'm with you, Kale.
Thank you, bro. Thank you,
I'm
bro.
with you, Kale.
This is why I need you on the podcast. Is you always back me up. But anyway, Basil, coming to you. Ten
I'm
Hag.
really surprised because I wanted Ten Hag at Arsenal. I think he's a very good coach, and I think what United need at this time and moment is someone with decent coaching credibility, and someone who can put in a system, get United playing a certain way, and try and get the players on board. That way, you can weed out quickly who shouldn't be there and who shouldn't and who should. Because I think that's where United has suffered over the last few years because Ole never really had like a system. So it's really obviously you can tell the players who aren't good enough, but it's really difficult to weed who deserves to be there and who doesn't because it wasn't a consistent style. It's the same with Rangnick. I don't know what Rangnick is trying to do there personally. So you can't really weed out who's here long term and who isn't because hasn't been a defined style for a long time. I'm surprised you guys wanted Poch. Poch just isn't good enough. And even you only have to look at what he's in at PSG. He's not getting that PSG team playing at all. And obviously, you only have to watch them. He's not getting them playing at all. They struggled with a few results. And for me, I don't think he's the right man to manage big stars or big name players, which seems to be United way of signing players. Whoever's big name, bring them into the club. I prefer Ten Hag to Poch, but that's just my opinion. But I think United should be optimistic because I think the first thing you need to change is your style of football. Have a defined style. Once you have a defined style, then I think it's easier to identify the type of players you can bring in to the club. And it's easier to weed out and get rid of players because you can quickly identify who's going to suit this style, who's going to quickly embed into what the manager wants. And then it's easier to get rid of them because clearly it just doesn't work. And I think it seems positive from what Ten Hag is saying in terms of the discussions and the factors as to what made him join the club. But I don't know. It's a big job at United. I mean, as Darren alluded to, one of the biggest issues is upstairs. Until you sort things out upstairs, and you have a strategy, you have a proper people in place to bring in players. It may not work. And all you have to do is look at the three clubs who are in the top three right now, which is City, Liverpool, and even Chelsea. Like Chelsea bring in managers not to have a say in the transfer market. But what they do is they have the structure correct upstairs where they can bring in the right players to suit the manager's style of play. Liverpool and City, who they have upstairs, whoever they're bringing is geared towards the manager's philosophy. And so everything is all right upstairs. That's what United are going wrong. What they're doing is they're bringing in managers and trying to cut corners by just bringing in big names and hoping those big names will do things for them. But, until that United board have like a proper strategy as to these are the type of player profiles we're bringing in, regardless of who the manager is. We're identifying the right targets, bring them in. Like I said, Darren said it could take a while for this United side to get back to being competitive at a minimum.
That's why I mentioned David Gill at the beginning because Man United's thing back in the day, apart from maybe 3 or 4 £30 million players, when obviously fees were like that, when they were the big fees, most of the signings that we had that went on to be great players for us, or the big names or the superstars, were not the big names or superstars when they first came. Vidic, Evra, them man, I can go on and on and on. So, that's an old formula that we had. We just abandoned it as soon as David Gill left. It was like, we need to show we're the big powerhouse Man United that can beat anybody in the transfer market. And that's not how you win things, So, because it didn't even work with the Galacticos. And look how legendary that team was in terms of names. You know what I'm saying? They didn't dominate the way you thought they would dominate. So, that's why again, it's not about being cautious towards Ten Hag. It's more cautious towards the club. I don't want to see a cycle of first season we'll give him what he wants, and then next year is I don't know so much. Like, you need to give the guy the chance to either succeed or fail. And if he fails, here's what he's giving his chance. Lord willing, he succeeds because I want to flip him win. And if he's the winner, we're happy here. So, that's what
in the era of Chiquip stands and Martin Edwards is and sort of like all these really good DOFs like Monchies, etc. Man United have got Darren Fletcher as technical director, who is on the bench running drills and training, and also on the bench for match days.
Hey, bro, did you hear? He actually participates in the training.
Rangnick was like, "Why are you even here?"
He wants to play football.
Rondo is there, bro.
Yeah, honestly, this is the thing. Like, I have not known. Obviously, like none of us know the job description as a technical director inside out. But obviously, as football fans, we could go, that person's got the same job as you, but they don't do what you do. Why are you on the pitch? Why are you on training videos on the YouTube channels and the Twitter accounts? Why are you sat in the technical direction pointing fingers with the coach? And this is why I've got no real faith in the internal structures, because a technical director should be focusing on the big picture, how Man United want to sort of actually go through this rebuild. But it looks like Fletcher is using this position to earn his stripes to get a coaching job. I think he wants to manage, honestly. I think he's in a position where he's comfortable. He knows the furniture. He's probably pretty popular. So he can go around, dip his toes in little things, gather his experience, shoot off to wherever else he wants to be when he gets a decent managerial offer, and then maybe come back in a few years' time if things dry up. That's what I think is going to happen, because there's no reason for a Man United to have someone like that in that role on the bench. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
it all seems to be a mess, Steve.
It is a mess. It is a mess.
Is Ten Hag going to fix all that?
He's as good an option as there is out there at the moment, and I think of the two names that have been spoken about, I don't think Pochettino is all that. I think got to a Champions League final against Liverpool, didn't get the results he wanted, and spent the next 6 months moaning about transfers and moaning about not being the guy that makes the decisions in the club, which was more about him than the Tottenham Hotspur project at that particular time. Which would worry me if he was coming to if Klopp was to leave in 2024. Personally, I think he's looking at extending, because he's bringing young players to the club who would want to walk away from that. What we're doing, Carvalho's coming in, who will be nurtured into being Bobby Firmino's replacement, and he's a lot more mobile than Bobby Firmino, so that gives us an additional thing to our attacking string. But with regards to Man United, unless the top end of the football club, see, you talk about business plans and you talk about strategies, and if you don't tailor those to what your manager wants, it will fall over, it will fail. So we've been fortunate enough that the powers that be at Liverpool have listened to what Klopp wants to do. Manchester City was set up for Guardiola with Soriano and Chicky Bergerstein coming in to give him the old Barcelona back room and to do the same things that they did. So it's very difficult. The first thing United need to do is sort out their infrastructure at the top of the club, get behind the manager and do nothing else. Then you've got to ask the manager, what is his plan, what is his system, and then you've got to do what Klopp did, and this is the dangerous part. So when Klopp signed for Liverpool, he didn't suddenly wake up the following morning with Salah, Mane, and all of those guys. He added pieces to a jigsaw, and what he was clever with, he said, right, okay, so I've got this player, that player, and that player. Now I can do this far into my system. It was never going to be the team we are now with Joe Allen in the team and other players like that who we inherited from Brendan Rodgers. So one by one, he replaced them with integral parts of his jigsaw. Wijnaldum, Fabinho. He put Henderson in a position where you saw the best of him. Someone mentioned it before. If you took Henderson out now and put him in a Chelsea side or a Manchester City side, he'd probably look lost, because he's perfectly suited to the system that Klopp wants to play. So you got a couple of different stages to go through. You might add 3 players to the current Manchester United squad, because let's be honest, who's going to give you 30-40 million pound for Fred, who's probably earning 170 grand a week? The answer is nobody. So you might find you're stuck with that guy for a bit. So you've got to find a role for him in your squad, same as we did with Joe Allen. And that's been a little unfair on Joe Allen, but it's an easy example to make. So you're going to have to put this squad together in increments, and it's going to improve in increments. And your fans have to be patient, and it might get a bit worse before it gets better because you don't know when you sign players what you're going to get from them. The point that was made before about they're not going to be the only club looking at these players. The idea of buying the players you want because you want them because you're Man United. We've talked about this loads of times, Kojo. That's gone. So if Manchester United, say this Adeyemi guy who looks like the deal to buy it to Dortmund's falling over. If Manchester United went for him and Liverpool went for him, where do you think he's going to go? And that's the problem you're going to have. If Chelsea went for him and Man United went for him, where do you think he's going to go? Even to some extent now, and don't take this the wrong way, Cahill, if Arsenal went for him, he's still going to have a decision to make. That's not something that any of us have seen in the last 20 years with Manchester United. It's new, uncharted territory. It's somewhere they've not been before. So Klopp re-educated Liverpool Football Club to be winners. Guardiola gave Manchester City the wherewithal to be winners. Tuchel came in, took over what Frank Lampard did, and gave the players in that squad jobs to do. Slightly fortuitous that he had good players in good positions to do those jobs. The Man United thing is a completely different animal. Everything has to change. Everything needs to be adjusted. Everything needs to be looked at. And it might be 6, 7, 8 years before they're up there challenging. And you've also got to factor in Manchester City and Liverpool aren't going to take their foot off the gas. That isn't going to happen. They're going to go from strength to strength. So as well as making up the ground to challenge Chelsea and then ultimately Liverpool and Manchester City, the leaps that Manchester United have to be greater than the leaps that those three clubs make to recover the ground anytime soon. So if I'm a Manchester United fan, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I have no idea how long that tunnel is going to be, and I don't know what obstacles lie in the way. What I've got to do is accept it where we are, like we had to, and just get on with it and get behind your manager and get behind what the club needs to do. And start again, even if it means get rid of the owners and float the club on the stock market, whatever it takes to change the whole mantra of Manchester United Football Club, because 7, 8, 9, 10 players alone is not going to solve their problems.
Agreed.
47 minutes on Manchester United. Let's talk about a better side of Manchester. Let's talk about the blue side, Kojo. They did pick up the 3 points against Brighton, a team in recent weeks that have been tricky. They obviously run North London. We and Basil both agree with that description. But it was a potential banana skin, and they handled them quite comfortably.
Yeah. Honestly, look, City do what they do. It's one of those ones where I think at half time, a lot of people are saying, Brighton going to get the points around here. The difference between the North London clubs and actually many other clubs in the league as well, Man City, is they've got so much quality going forward that eventually can break you down. And they brought down Brighton. They eventually made it a comfortable 3-0 win. Quality and abundance. Mahrez, fantastic. So look, it's not that I don't have much to say, but it's one of them ones where it's like, eventually when they got that first goal, you just knew what was coming after that. And that's how good they are. They can kill you off. So, it's another good win for them. I'm just excited. I'm happy that it makes the title race exciting, because at the end of the day, all rivalry aside, you want your league to go down to the wire. You don't want it to be like a, apart from Steve, but I know Steve would like it easy right now. But no, look, the one person, Daps has just mentioned his name there, KDB. That guy has found form at the right time, man. That guy he's pure evil. He's phenomenal. Despite me and Cahill's thoughts on space and everything regarding KDB, in general, no, he's a fantastic footballer, man, and his quality is showing at the right time. He's a big game player, as we've seen as well. So look, it's very cliche, but every game right now to the end of the season is a big game for them, including the Champions League games. Because if Pep is to get over the line in the Champions League with Man City, he's going to need KDB at top form. And if he can maintain this form, then they can also go and try and win it'll be a double. I was about to say a treble. it'll be a double. So yeah,
Not a bad double.
no, not a bad double. We've done that double before, and I fully enjoyed it. So I can't really say it's a okay double for them. It's fantastic. So yeah, no, look, they steam on, as do Liverpool as well. So yeah, on to the next game for Man City.
I mean, Jerry, do you agree with what Daps is saying there? City lack killers in their forward line. I mean, if you compare it to Liverpool, then that would be certain. But they've got a very good forward line.
No, they do, but as much as it pains me, Liverpool look scary, man. Like I've already conceded that I think they're gonna make history this season and win everything. Like the momentum Liverpool on right now is scary. I don't see anyone beating them. Like I think from now to the end of the season, I think they win every single game. So yeah, man, Liverpool, Man City. I know that Brighton game, halftime 0. You're thinking, and even the goals. Watching the goals back, they got a few deflections there. Yeah. So, and Liverpool, like Mane, big shout out to Mane. He's since the AFCON, since 2022, he's come on. Obviously, he's been moved to the striker role, and he's just tapped into a new form of power, and he looks very dangerous in that front, in that central role. Diaz on the left, Sal on the right. Then you got Joe who can jump in. You got Firmino who can chip in, even Origi. Like for me, Liverpool on this steamroller train that I don't see anyone stopping them. Man City, they look a bit shaky, man. I know they won, but I'm not sure. I think the lack of striker may come to bite them in the ass, honestly, because I know they got the pretty footballers, but they don't have. Like I'm more scared to play Liverpool than I am to play City. If that makes sense, because Liverpool are just relentless, man. The way they play, the fast pace. I know the FA Cup, I kind of disagreed with the team about Man City, but Liverpool, credit to them. That first half was scary, man. Like 3-0 to Man City. I was thinking, right, like, only Liverpool can do this to Man City. They're the only team. So as much as it pains me, I think they're winning the quad, and that will be disastrous, man. You won't see me again. You will not see me again.
Where's Jerry gone?
I'm off social. I'm off everything because they've clocked football. They've completed it. So
yeah,
Hala Madrid.
Basil, City's front line. I'm still saying it's deadly. I mean, Mahrez is doing really well this season. He's going underappreciated, especially in all competitions.
Yeah, I mean, he's got like 23 goals already in all competitions. He goes under the radar, and that's my issue. Is like people like him going under the radar, but then it's like we praise sometimes Foden for normal standard performance, not out of this world. Or Jack Grealish went there for 100 million. No idea why he went. Why they bought him when they had players like Mahrez who offer much more output than Jack Grealish. I still think City will win the league because City have an easier running, and I think City, when it comes to rotating, can rotate like for like. Obviously, the only issue is that they don't really have that centre forward, which for me, and I want to mention one player too, Gabriel Jesus, which for me is a damning. It's a damning statement on Gabriel Jesus. That he's the only striker in the team and still can't play up front. Let's be brutally, he's not a good winger whatsoever. I've watched him play.
Basil. You might be talking about our next number 9 there, so I don't
Arsenal.
I saw that today, but I don't know, and that just tells you where Arsenal are at. But obviously, I'll leave Arsenal for another day. That we're once again going for other clubs' hand-me-downs when it's never ever worked for us. But for me, my issue with Gabriel Jesus is his decision-making in the final third. I think that's the reason why, Guardiola doesn't trust it. I think he likes his work ethic. He likes his movement off the ball, and in fairness, he's a very good mover. He's got fantastic movement off the ball. But in that final third, his decision-making is what lets him down. And I think that's one of the reasons why Pep doesn't trust him up front. But I think apart from the strikers, I still think City are more or less favourites because, especially in the league, they can replace a like for like. And I think maybe that's where Liverpool can kind of come undone, especially with like difficult matches coming up. Like, what did they start to play? West Ham, I believe. West Ham, Spurs. I still think Liverpool will win those games, but they're still tricky games that they need to play. And obviously, it's hard to rotate. It's hard to rotate like for like Liverpool-wise when the Champions League may become a priority. But we'll see how it goes. I think City will be City. They're always going to control and dominate games. It's just about whether they're clinical in that final third. But I think as Kojo mentioned earlier, I can see City winning all of the remaining league games because they have gone on that kind of run in the past.
I'd say this on that point. If City win the league and Liverpool finish second, it's absolutely no disgrace to finish second to a side that's as good as that.
Yeah.
We're seeing ridiculous levels of performance. The players and the manager seem to get over that quite quickly. The fan bases need to adjust and learn to do so too. We're seeing two sides going head to head, 90+ points a season. We've not seen that before. We haven't. And as good as the rivalry between Arsenal and Man United was back in the day, they weren't doing that. When we're talking about rivalries, we're talking about personalities between the manager. In terms of the standard on the pitch, the numbers are insane. And I personally, and I know other people think the same, if we don't end up winning the title and we lose to City, we've lost to them by a point before. It's still a great season. And you've only got to find a little bit more the next season, just as we did to take it on. It's no disgrace to finish second in a 2-horse race that is as good as this. You've got to applaud the team that wins it and say, well done. You know what I mean? So that's my view on that.
I'll say Liverpool have been very unlucky because if you take like the past 3 seasons, including this season, and look at how many points they can potentially finish on, it's fantastic that they've been able to maintain that. For City, it's a lot easier. When there's failure, they just go out and spend as much money as they want on new players.
Agree.
So it's quite easy for them. Liverpool don't have that same, don't do the same. So the fact that even they're still competitive at this point of the season in 4 competitions is still fantastic. Did they even bring anyone in this summer, Liverpool, apart from Diaz? Apart from Diaz,
they'll sign. They'll buy. They've got to buy midfielders. They've got to.
I don't think they signed anyone. Which that's a testament to Liverpool.
No,
in
the previous summer.
In the summer, did they bring in anybody?
They brought in Konate.
Okay, yeah.
I can't think of anybody else, but yeah, I think
the fact that they've only made one signing in the summer. Obviously, Diaz came in January, but one signing in the summer, and they're still competing in all competitions in the manner that they're doing and still performing this way. Like I said, it's testament to that Liverpool team.
I mean, Darren, let's talk about your boy, Graham Potter. Let's talk about him because you were talking all that good stuff when it was beating Arsenal and beating Spurs.
I still
by Brighton, by Man City. What's going
on?
on?
No, little Brighton lost to arguably the best team in the world. So, quickly with City, it's death by 1,000 cuts. Some of the goals were very lucky. Potter has taken Brighton to heights that they've never seen before. They've literally already got 40 points. It's like that. That is not what they're used to in their Premier League era, and they go for it too. It
was a good 5 seconds away from doing that to the Brighton fans that were booing him.
Honestly, I thought that was. Honestly, if I was Potter, I would have handed my resignation. The nerve. But yeah, like I think he's really, really good. I think he's got a team where they can clearly play multiple systems. It's very, very flexible. And their talent ID for everybody that doesn't play striker is really, really good. They've got fantastic midfielders. Like Mwepu, Moses Caicedo is just come in. I know he was on loan in Belgium first. But he's only just started playing Premier League football recently, and he looks fantastic. Obviously, Basuma, Webster, Lamptey, Cucurella, they've got a very, very good team that can play lots of different ways, lots of different systems, and they're just. I like watching them. I think they're pretty good. One thing on the City Liverpool thing, though, I think there's 1 point separating them in the last 3 years. That's insane. It's as neck as it can get. So yeah, it's the creme de la creme with those two. Really, there's not really much you can say about it.
That's an interesting point because what's on screen now. Because if he does go and sign Haaland, he's got to reconfigure how City play. There's no guarantee that works because the death by 1,000 cuts is an analogy I use as well. They just find angles and pass you to death, and you have to be concentrating for 90 minutes. One slip up and they're in. You add Haaland to to Manchester City's squad. He's a line leader. He's a typical. He's almost a throwback, and it sounds mad saying that now, but he's sort of an orthodox number 9. How does that change him going forward? But that's a conversation for another day. But for me, it's certainly an intriguing one.
Let's move on to not the final game, but the final game we're going to talk about. Chelsea 2, Arsenal 4. Basil, come on now. I'm in the same boat as you. It was all doom and gloom a few days ago, but now look at us. Egg on our faces, man. We absolutely battered Chelsea.
Let's see what happens tomorrow first.
yeah. I know. Let's focus on a few days ago right now.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know?
Eddie Nketiah scored 2 great goals.
Yeah, which I think, you know, I think from a distance wise, I think they're like in terms of the goals he scored. I think they're the furthest out he scored in his time at Arsenal. The 2 goals he scored during the week. They're actually the furthest. Yeah, they're actually the furthest.
That's still negative, Basil. Focus on the positive. We absolutely.
Cool. The first goal was a good finish. I give it to him. The second one was more instinctive.
Tenacity as well.
I think Nketiah did well. I think he worked hard. He ran the channels well. I think he gave us more energy than Lacazette would have.
Not hard.
Definitely not hard. I mean, my issue with Arsenal is that defensively we're still all over the place. Like
you won 4-2, and you're saying my issue with Arsenal. Come on, man. It's not my force, man. It's not my force. Sometimes smile.
Chelsea gifted us that game by playing Malanga Sarr at the back because without him, goals.
Give your players the flowers they deserve, man.
Stick to it, boy.
All right. On a positive note, I think Arsenal did well to dig deep.
Yes.
In fairness, when we conceded the second goal, I couldn't see us getting back into the game, but credit where credit was due. We continued fighting. I think Smith Rowe had a decent game. Nketiah had a decent game. Who played in our midfield? I completely forget. I think Elneny did well.
Elneny,
I don't think, like I said, I personally don't want to long term, but I think Elneny had a discipline, played a good discipline role in that midfield. And the only thing we asked for Arsenal is that they just carry this on until the weekend against United. Anyhow, we lose to this shambles of a United team, then I'm calling for Arteta's resignation. There's nothing that can bring me back to Arteta. I'm calling for his immediate resignation because there's no way we should not be beating a Manchester United team who are down in the dumps in the manner that they are now.
You'll beat Man United. Don't worry about it. You'll beat them. It's fine. It's fine. You'll beat them.
Months ago, and look what happened. We absolutely
listen. You'll win. The confidence of Man United versus Arsenal are completely diametric ends. It's so different. Man United could not pull a 4-2 against Chelsea out their backside. They just couldn't do it. There was no way.
You could do it against Arsenal, though, definitely.
No,
I'm telling you.
Listen,
we've done it before. When Rashford burst through, we was on our knees, and he came and slapped
Rashford burst through. That was a good few years ago.
Exactly.
He's got previous.
We unless the only way Man United are gonna start that game with a little bit of pep under their step, and this isn't gonna happen, is if Ten Hag is on the phone and be like, guys, you will play for your futures, by the way.
Aaron, listen, you're not going to draw me in. I've been here before. A few weeks ago, I said we're coming back home to the Champions League. Look at me now, sir. I've learned my lesson.
He's learned his lesson. Let's talk about Saka, Kojo. I think Arteta came out in the press conference saying that he thought Martinelli was going to take the penalty, but it seemed like Bukayo Saka was determined to score that goal. Wonderful finish as well. So I think he played a decent game.
No, he played well. He was confident, man. He was confident throughout the game. He was on Marcus Alonso. He said, I'm going to finish you today.
He got cooked.
He cooked him. He cooked him like body. Listen. Listen. He finished him. Oh, man. Saka's more than anything, I'm just here to praise his intelligence because, you know, it's it's sometimes in football you watch players go against obviously the easier target, but they try to enjoy too much. He cooked him and then immediately looked for the next stage, whether it's the apply a shot or look for the next pass. And more often than not, his decisions were spot on. So the guy's he's improving each and every time you watch him. Even when he has so-called bad games, you can see aspects of his game start slightly improving bit by bit, and he's starting to become a bit more of a total player. Yes, his end product in terms of finishing is still very, very hit and miss, but he's still very young. And this is the one thing that we forget about football, because obviously in the last couple of years, or in the last decade of football anyway, we've enjoyed a lot of footballers that have had like a crazy arrival into the sport from a young age, and they've been killing it from like 18, 19, 20, and been finishing or, found the end product so early. And Kosaka's not the...
Yeah, that reminds me of something. How many years ago was that, Jerry? That reminds me of something, what Coach just said.
2016.
There we go. Yeah. Cool. Anyway.
6 years. But yeah, look, you just got to give the boy time, man. At the end of the day, he's in a good place right now. He's playing consistent football. I think it would be smart if Pepe is not going to get chances. It'll be smart to get someone in that will allow rotation, so he doesn't get burnt out at a later age. Look after the guy, look after him so that he can go to the gym and be fine. Unlike certain Aston Villa managers currently. So yeah, he's fantastic, man. He's a fantastic footballer, and also, I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about Smith Rowe, but I just want to quickly get in there and say, listen, that finish.
Oh, incredible stuff. I love that. I love that.
Malang
smiled. When that going in, when Smith Rowe slided it in, don't lie, you had a little bit of a smile on your face.
Bro, I sat there, I was like, ooh. that kind of ooh, that's beautiful. He passed it. It's just a little pass. Sometimes that's ultimate finesse. You don't need to finish with like a plump or a blump or whatever the word is, man. Just finesse it. And Malang Sarr. Hey, ask someone else another question, man.
Do you know what? Let's say one thing on Saka. Saka's always going to improve because his game IQ is really high.
Really high.
He's very, very versatile for somebody his age. He's basically taken the position of leadership in the team in his early 20s. He is very good at creating partnerships with the members of his team, whether it be Odegaard, whether it be the fullback he's playing alongside, whether it be the other winger, whether it be Martinelli or Smith Rowe. He's very, very good at sort of working with his teammates. So he's always going to get really, really good. And Southgate was right on Saka, because he got a lot of stick for backing Saka. He's absolutely right. Absolutely right on that.
I mean, I'm pretty sure in 2 years when his contract runs out, he'll be celebrating title victories with Liverpool. But anyway, let's talk to you, Steve. Hayland, not bad recently, is it, in terms of producing talent?
Say again, sorry, what's not bad?
Hayland, Arsenal's youth.
No, it's very good, mate. And I think I was just thinking, listening to the guys speak there, I think what you need now is you need to carry on bringing through that quality. But you also need, and this is where Gabriel Jesus, although it was laughed at, might not be the worst thing in the world, because he knows what it is to be a winner. He's won trophies, and that's a big thing to bring into a dressing room. In addition to someone like a Jesus, they need someone in the centre back position and someone in the centre midfield position that can rein it in when it's needed to be reined in. Someone with experience, an older head, not an old head, but an older head. Someone that's got miles under the bonnet, that's been there and done it, and can say, right, stop chasing everything. We'll take 10 minutes out now, and we'll sort of revitalize ourselves and go again. Youthful exuberance can often catch you out, where you just keep going and going and going and going and going, and then you burn yourself out. So these young players are tremendous, and they've got fantastic careers ahead of them. And the IQ thing is exactly right for Saka, and you see it in Smith Rowe too. But they've got Martinelli, they've got Odegaard, who's about 23. They've got the young guy, centre of defence. They've got a young goalkeeper. It's good to see, and this is the parallel with Man United. It's good to see the club not listen to the fans, because if they listen to the fans, they would have sacked Arteta 10 times by now. give the guy a little bit of time to work his magic, to implement his plan. Yeah, and he's pointing at you, and I can see your face because this is you. Give him time to implement his plan. Oh yeah, and that one. And you reap the rewards. You have to be patient. You have to be patient.
See, I've got a question for you. If Arsenal don't finish top 4, do you still give Arteta time?
Yeah.
Okay, then my next question is how much time if they don't finish top 4?
If they finish 5th, and they don't, and that's not top 4, obviously. Then it is progression for Arsenal. They've gone forward in terms of the 12 months since they finished well out of it. So it is an improvement for them. It's still not the side he would tell you that he wants. There's still areas he needs to address.
Yeah.
He still has to play Granit Xhaka, who's a liability, but has got certain assets to his game which help. If you could find someone of that experience that could go in there and do a job, be a bit more mobile, be a bit less rash. I mean, the kick in the throat of Diogo Jota in the cup games is ridiculous, and that's a microcosm of that guy's career. Bring someone in. Like to have seen them try a bit harder for someone like a Zakaria. Dennis Zakaria would have been a good shout for Arsenal because of what he can do when you haven't got the ball. I don't think if it's 5th place that they should jump, and because there aren't a queue of managers lining up to take the place of Arteta. You look at world football today. If Klopp walked out tomorrow, where do we go? We probably look at his number 2 before we do anything else, because there isn't a plethora of world-class managers out there at the moment that you can go to and say, there's your man. It's not worked out particularly well for Nagelsmann at Bayern Munich, because Red Bull, when he was manager there, they were wide open. You could create chances against them galore. They lost their number 6 or defensive deep line midfielder in Thiago. They haven't really replaced him, and they've got Upamecano and Nicolas Sule being torn new ones every single week by quality centre forwards. Yeah. There aren't managers out there that can come in and make such a big difference. I personally would, and Klopp's a really, really extreme example. 6 years into the job, and we're up for everything. I'm not suggesting in 6 years Arteta's going to be in that, but it's has to be terms of scale. Arsenal are not Liverpool right now, but in 2 or 3 years' time, they could be one of the sides that emerges from the pack to try it. And I'm not sure if you press the ejector button and get rid of Arteta at the end of the season because he finished 5th. I'm not sure that's a good idea, because his project is so far into it now. Who comes in and picks it up and runs with it?
Basil, do you agree with what Steve's saying?
Absolutely not. He's been absolutely not. That's the thing. People talk about this project. I still don't know what this project is. And you need to remember this, right? We've had a lot of Arsenal fans say Arteta's like he's the next best young manager. Look at where Arsenal. I said this, where the position Arsenal are in about 4 games ago. I said that for me should be telling of where Arteta is, because I said if he's as good as what he is with all those games in hand, he takes advantage of those and wins top 4. If he bottles it, then for me that tells me he's not good enough for Arsenal, because there's a difference if we were like where United or Tottenham are, and I say, well, we've been there for a while, give him time. But he was in a leading position where he had control of Arsenal's destiny for top 4. And it's been very inconsistent up until now. And for me, it's like, well, you've been in a position where you could consolidate top 4. And if you can't consolidate it, for me, it doesn't bode well for where you can take Arsenal in the future. And secondly, I personally still don't know what our proper style of football is. Sometimes we play well, sometimes we don't play well. It's been so up and down in terms of our style. I'm still not fully convinced as to how Arsenal are going to be playing moving forward, going in the future. And then the final thing I'm going to say is that a lot of the players that have come in at the club, he's sanctioned them. And so, we've had Cedric, he sanctioned that signing. Mari sanctioned that signing, then he'll send out on loan. Tavares, he sanctioned that signing. Lokonga, you only have to look at the players that have come in and they haven't fully worked for him. So it makes me think, well, if we're bringing players to support what he wants to do and it's not working now, it doesn't fill with much confidence that even if we bring in another 3 or 4 players, that it's going to work with Arteta. And then the last thing is his player management. He seems to burn bridges with players far too quickly for my
way
life.
too quickly.
So
For
let
me,
me
that's quite
let me ask you a question, Basil. Then,
Yeah.
outside of the obvious three in the Premier League, you give me names of managers who can control the destiny of their own football clubs,
That's
other
what I'm
than
gonna
Guardiola, Klopp, and to some extent Tuchel. Who else in world football is in charge of what their aspirations are? The answer's nobody.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that point. But I think what I want to see from Arsenal first is better performances on the pitch. I think that would encourage me to say he's the guy moving forward. Even this season where we are, it's been still very inconsistent this season.
You have
I
got the
think
youngest
it's
one, and
worrying.
the inconsistency is going to happen.
It is, but it's been very inconsistent with Arsenal, to be honest. It's been and for me, it's been there. It's 2.5 years he's been there now, and we're still in the same. I still feel we're still in more or less the same position where we're in.
You're not, because
The only thing that's improved, is morale. But in terms of performances, I still think it's still the same.
You watch your own team. Sorry, mate. You watch your own team through very different perspective than your rival fans watch your own team. I actually quite like when Arsenal play well, and you've alluded to that. When Arsenal play well, they're really easy on the eye to watch. And I know the eye test doesn't win you trophies, but it goes a long way to putting bums on seats and getting your revenue through your box office and your tickets and what have you. I can be really critical of Liverpool at times, and then I've talked to some of the guys in this room before, and they don't see what I see because we over-examine everything we do to the nth degree because it's our club and we love it, so we're super critical of it. Arsenal are in a decent place right now, and you know, I genuinely believe Arsenal will finish in 4th place. So I'm not sure how much validity this conversation is going to have, because you will win one of the games in hand. I'm certain of that, and then that really puts you in the box seat. Don't forget, Spurs have got to play Liverpool, and several people in this room have said that Liverpool will win all of the games between now and the end of the season. That's a big leg up for Arsenal in pursuit of 4th place. Man United aren't going to take it from you.
Hell no.
It's definitely between Arsenal and Tottenham, but then Arsenal do have banana skins like Newcastle and
even Tottenham have banana skins. It's very balanced it's going to come down to the fact of who's going to want to give it to the other team more. Is it going to be Tottenham saying, here you go, Arsenal? Is it going to be Arsenal saying, here you go, Spurs? I don't think it's going to come down to the quality of either teams, and that says everything about the teams in the top 4 race. But where I do agree with Steve is I don't think there's a plethora of managers ready and available to that will come.
100% agree with that. 100% agree.
Come in and take over.
Yes, that's the issue.
Because I do agree with the all the Nagelsmann analysis, and then the other 2 managers that are ready, not even available, but you would think could have a chance at coming to Arsenal would be Mancini, who hasn't qualified for a World Cup with Italy, and Luis Enrique, who's nobody's going to prime away from that Spain squad. I don't think any chance. So then we're looking below us, and are we going to go for Potter, or is that even more of a risk than sticking with Arteta? I don't know. He plays nice football, but does he know what it takes to build a top quality side that's consistent and can fight for top 4? It's a risk. So I don't know. And where I will concede with you is, battle with you is, yes, he has bought in Tavares and he has bought in Lokonga, but he's also bought in Tomiyasu. He's also bought in Ramsdale. He's also bought in a whole bunch of players that have played well this season and have put us in 5th position. This is no way me saying I'm Arteta in, by the way. I am so hot and cold in this subject. I can't even.
For me, I'm just like, I need to be consistent, and because I've never really been Arteta in, I'm just like, let me keep you consistent. So someone,
I get you. I can't dismiss the fact that we're in 5th place and we still have a chance to top 4. I can't dismiss that, because that is good, especially if you consider the age of this squad. I think it's very good and it looks bright for the future. It comes down to his man management skills, which is very much a bother for me, and it comes down to the fact that there's a lot of young players that are on short-term contracts that will end up eventually leaving if we don't get into the Champions League right now. So this is the moment, and after this moment, is it going to be as easy? I don't think so.
Yeah, I think, and even to add to that, and also say, I think that's one of the things Arsenal need to be careful of, is that the better players won't hang around for long, regardless of whether they've come from the academy or to support Arsenal. at some point there's going to be a turning point. And that's it. If the likes of Liverpool come crawling, or the likes of maybe Chelsea come crawling, and these guys have 1 year left on their contract, they're not going to sign. They're going to look at their pals, especially when they're going international duties.
Yep.
Look at their pals and see if they're winning trophies. I want to have that conversation. I want to, experience the same glory as they did. And some of those better players will leave Arsenal. It's happened so many times at Arsenal. They join with the ambition. When the ambition doesn't come to fruition, then they look elsewhere. And I think that's one thing Arsenal really need to be careful of.
I understand the cautiousness, and the top four race is kind of interesting because with those games in hand that Arsenal had, I think we were looking at the games. I think it was Chelsea was a game in hand, Spurs was a game in hand before it got moved down further. United was another game in hand, and I think many times, I mean, when me and Kel spoke about it, or anyone else has spoken about it, they saw those as the potential banana skins for Arsenal, not the games that they lost.
Yeah, not the we should have bloody won.
Yeah, so you beat Chelsea, but then you lost. I think before that, you lost 4 out of 5, and it was not saying that you are expected. I mean, you guys would probably expect your team to get better results, definitely against Crystal Palace and all that, but they are still very good sides at the end of the day for a reason.
Southampton that lost to Burnley.
Oh well, okay. Well, this is Southampton. I was getting there. This is Southampton. I said Crystal Palace first.
And who's the other one we lost to?
Brighton.
Brighton as well. No goals in 7 games. That Brighton.
And then they found it against you. I know. but look, I understand the cautiousness from Basil. But look, every game is a banana skin for Arsenal, man, because you never know what Arsenal's going to turn up.
Yeah.
But again, see, the thing is, under Wenger, under Emery, under Arteta, under Ljungberg for a couple of games, it's been the same thing with Arsenal anyway. So, let's see, maybe Arteta being given a chance to build something is a good thing. I mean, look, I am a fan of the 3 summers. So this is going to be his 3rd summer, if I'm correct. If it's his 3rd summer, he brings in a couple more players. That's his team. For me, officially his team. And then I say, okay, what is the ambition of Arsenal this season? If it's to finish top 4 again, cool. You have to then do it. Because you have other competitors, but that's the game you play in the Premier League. It's like, Chelsea want to win the Premier League every year, but they got City and Liverpool to compete against. So if they don't, they're going to win Champions League anymore. So if they don't win the FA Cup, well, the future owner look at Tuchel and say, okay, you bought us Champions League, but this season wasn't good enough. Abramovich isn't here, but you're still doing the second thing. You're out. Who knows? So, yeah, after the first season or first summer, I want to see who he brings in personally from outside looking in. And then I can see if I can judge Arsenal on where as an outsider, where I would think they will finish compared to you guys. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting, this top 4 race.
It is going to be interesting. And considering we're closing into 10 o'clock, we have to wrap it up there. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for listening. But first of all, we need to find out where they can find you guys. So, Basil, where can they find you, sir?
You can find me at bjacobs14 on Twitter. You'll see me talking a lot if we win on Saturday. If not, radio silence. So we'll see what mood I'm in come Saturday afternoon. Hopefully, it'll be a victory and we'll have the bragging rights and more misery onto United and their fans, but we'll see.
We will see. Jerry, where can they find you, sir?
Yeah, Twitter handle and United Team Talk on YouTube. Tomorrow, listen, if we beat Arsenal, block me, because it'll be embarrassing for Arsenal to lose to this United team. I can't lie, but listen, I've got to back the boys, and yeah, hopefully we get the 3 points, man. But yeah, always a pleasure to be on, man.
Thank you, Jerry. Steve, where can they find you?
On the socials there, mate. I'll do it right. And usually on Redmen TV, kind of weekly for Liverpool at the moment. And sort of once a month on with you guys, which is always a pleasure. Always very grateful to come on and have a chat. Really enjoyed this evening, gents. I know it's been difficult for subject for 1 or 2 of you, but it's always a good chat. No, it is, but it's a good chat, and I've enjoyed it. So, that's not a final dig, by the way. There's a little bit of sympathy in there.
Kojo, where can they find us?
Yes, right here on YouTube, Free Midfield Podcast. On all the audios, Free Midfield. That is your Spotify, SoundCloud, and Apple Podcast. And of course, on your socials, that is Free Midfield, the number 3 Midfield. On Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitch, Free Midfield. And Darren's pointing at something I don't always pointing at. Oh, you just took it off.
So you're where you are. That is pointing to where you are. So it looks like I'm pointing at your.
Okay.
Oh, all right then. All right. This has been another episode of the Match Report. Good night.